Hi, everyone. Welcome to Asian Powerhouse Twitter Space and podcast session. As I said, if you guys could, before we start, could follow Asian Powerhouse on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm Joyce Yung. I'm a photographer, film producer, and podcaster. I'm very thrilled to be partnering with Asian on this new podcast. Co-hosting with me is Nicole, founder of Asian, a beautiful NFT collection with artwork by Mr. Hike, celebrating diversity and female empowerment while focusing on building community. We want to talk about female empowerment, diversity, and of course, bridging the Web 2, Web 3 space. So, our guest today is Bianca Bustamante, a 17-year-old race car driver, first Filipina to compete in the W Series, and the team just launched the NFT Access Pass Dark Horse Bia. Before we hand the mic to Bianca and ask some questions, I'm going to ask Nicole to give a few words and also talk about the Asian NFT collection.
Yep. Hi, everybody. So my name is Nicole. I'm the founder of Asian. It's an NFT project. We have 8,888 NFTs showcasing the beautiful, rich Asian cultures that we have in really beautiful lady form. So the whole idea of the collection is to empower more women in the space and to get more women in the space as well, especially in the Asian region. So when I first started the NFT project, the gender gap in the NFT space was really huge. I think there was about 90% male in the NFT space, and that was something that I was trying to solve. So with Asian, we managed to get more women on board into the NFT space together with the other women projects out there. So there was this movement that we were trying to kind of fill and solve. This happened in earlier January this year. So yeah, it's really empowering to see more and more women in the space. So I would like to know more about Bianca's journey, her NFT project, and also her professional career to be really young and successful and to be able to kind of drive fast cars. I think that is really interesting. So looking forward to hear more about your story.
Cool. So yeah, let's hand it off to Bianca. Let's hear about where you're at in your career right now. And listeners may not know too much about racing. We can explain a little bit what it means to be at the W Series and your next race.
Hey guys, I'd introduce myself. I'm Bianca Bustamante. I'm a 17-year-old racing driver from the Philippines. I recently made a transition from professional karting to the world of Formula cars. And as you guys be familiar with, be Formula 1 or Formula 2 or those sort, I'm currently making my way up to that ladder. And I'm now driving with W Series, which is an F3 car. I recently got into it this year as it is my rookie season and it is my first year driving cars in Formula. And it's been such a crazy journey just getting up to this point. It's been a really, really hectic year. I mean, we started off in January when I was invited by the W Series to do a shootout with them here in Arizona. And they chose 15 drivers from all over the world. I was selected, having being the fastest driver during that shootout. They offered me a 2-year deal. So that is currently where I'm at right now. I'm racing with the W Series and just racing all over the world, really. We had a race in Miami, Barcelona, now we're off to Silverstone and a few more other countries. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey, but the path leading up to here was really, really difficult. Starting from karting at the age of 3 when I first drove it, my very first competition at the age of 6. But yeah, it's really fun. It makes you a lot stronger, and I'm here now trying to pave the way in women in motorsport.
For sure, you're doing amazing things and definitely trailblazing through in the way for the sport and also the NFT space. But we'll get to that. You said you started karting at 3, and your dad introduced you to it because he's in the world of karting as well. Talk more about that process and what was your biggest break that got you till this point.
My dad was my sole inspiration into getting into racing, really. Like, he was a karter and he had so much love for the sport, so much passion, and unfortunately for him, he couldn't get into it because it was a bit too late for him. But the minute I learned, he got me a tailored suit when I was born. He brought me to all his races. He would carry me to his podiums alongside his trophies every single time. I guess I just got acclimated to like the environment and just how much he loved the sport. And eventually I fell in love as well. By the age 3, he got me a go-kart. I started driving and it was a bit unbelievable, to be honest. Like, at that point, I couldn't even speak fluently yet, but I did know what was throttle, what was brake, and what was a corner and how to drive. So that was really funny. But yeah, I also love motorsport because it kind of bonded me and my dad. We really had a strong connection because of it. He would understand me and my struggles with karting or whenever I was feeling down because of it. And he would also push me forward when he saw that I had potential and talent. And that's why he worked the hardest just to get me into racing, just to allow me to be able to race, even though it was very difficult because it is very expensive to do karting, and even just karting. And by the time I was age 6, he saved up all this money, I got to do a national race here in the Philippines where I won. And that's kind of where it led on. I've been racing all over the world, age 6 to now I'm 17. My last year in karting was actually 2021. Last year. It was my last year in karting. I've won numerous awards from National Karter of the Year, Philippine Karter of the Year, Driver of the Year, Asian Karting Junior Champion, and I've won Macau Kart Championship 3 times, in China Kart Championship 3 times, I think. And because of my parents' hard work, it led me to this path where I can be whatever I want and pursue my love. I guess now my biggest break is winning the shootout and being one of the few people chosen to race in the W Series, as it is a very, very strong platform where women to showcase their talent and be heard and be seen. And now the vast amount of support that I've been receiving from just everyone is insane. And I never really imagined that I would be able to reach this point in my life or in my career, because it is just unimaginable. And I am so thankful that the W Series and the whole community, they believe in me and they believe in my talent, even though I am very young. They took a really big risk on me to allow me to race, or to even just select me, because it is a really big responsibility. Driving in a car from having zero to no experience in a Formula car is very difficult. It's technical. But yeah, I'm really grateful to them, and I'm grateful that they believe in women.
That's
Absolutely.
really interesting. I actually just did a quick Google, and I Googled what percentage of race car drivers are female, and it's only 25% are women. So that's a really interesting number. And then I said, why no female race car drivers? And it says the main reason why there aren't any female drivers is because of money. It says women typically don't have more money than men and doesn't really have a budget. This is really interesting. Like, come to think of it, I've seen F1 race car drivers, and I've went to the circuit before in Malaysia. We have a Sepang circuit, and I've actually never seen female races. So it's really empowering to see that you, as a young, you're so young. You're like 17. I thought I was young. I'm 25, but
You're very young.
No, you are younger. Wow, you're 17. This is really, really amazing. I think we should definitely empower more women to do what we do. I think we kind of have the same vision. You want to get more women into race cars, and I want to get more women into NFTs, and that is something that we have in common.
Absolutely. And that's why I thought this would be quite perfect as well, because you're both super young. Nicole, you're amazing. 25, you started your NFT in November last year. So that's fairly early for all the, for most of the NFT collection, and especially for a female founder. That there's a parallel there, and I definitely want to talk more about that. So, with that, actually, maybe we'll start with Bianca, if you can talk about, and it relates to what you just said, Nicole, which is exactly the point where money is a big issue, right? In terms of, well, not just for female, for any racer, that's a lot of money to get to the next step, but especially for females. So can you talk a bit more about that, Bianca, and how that relates to starting the NFT Access Pass as well?
Yes, for sure. Money has always been the biggest hindrance in motorsport, because it is very expensive. Just to even test or drive the car, it would cost just a vast amount of money. It hinders your progress and your growth, because as a driver, you need to be able to test, to train, to practice, to keep on learning and progressing. Especially now that I'm 17, I'm in my zone where I'm really trying to learn as much so it can propel me forward in my career. Having no budget or no support stops that, and therefore I can't really reach my potential in racing. That's kind of why we started this whole Dark Horse NFT Access Pass, this whole project, because we really do believe in communities, and we believe that having that support will help, especially now and in the future. We got into it, and at first it was a bit tough to sort of go into this path, because me and Daryl, we kind of didn't really know much about space until, of course, Adrian and digital creators and everyone. We met amazing people that help us, make this happen. Dark Horse name was something my team and I came up with to this stage of my career, really, because I'm an unlikely race driver that came from a middle-class family in the Philippines. We're not rich at all. My dad had to work 3 jobs to get me through karting, but now I'm in Formula cars where that's just not enough to cut it. As a concept, the Dark Horse represents athletes like myself, incredibly passionate about what we do, but lacking the realities of the world to support me with money, industries, networks, and on. So the collection reflects a burning desire for me to succeed, and that's why graphically we've used elements of a horse, race cars, and burning embers to signify my inner desire to be the best driver I can be. And of course, aside from the artworks, there's also the access pass where the NFT buyers can get, where they can get the behind the scenes of me and as an athlete, where they can connect with me and just build a community as I go along this journey and make my way up the ladder. So that I really, really love. As a 17-year-old and having like, well, I wouldn't say no emotional support, but like dealing with this by myself is a bit tough. But having that community that I can grow with and go along, it really makes everything easier and more fun. Whenever I did my very first race in Miami and we kind of started the Discord server, it was just amazing the amount of support that they would give me. Like before and after the races, they would send me all these messages, all these congratulations, and long, sweet, heart melting comments and everything. And they would host watch parties, and just that kind of group of people, that the beer crew, they support me and they believe in me. Like even though I'd get bad results, they would be there. They wouldn't leave. And that's the kind of community that I would want to be involved in. That's why we're really thorough about this project. And I think, it's a work in progress. It's a very new space, but eventually we'll get there.
Amazing. And totally, I mean, I follow the NFT space since February only, but community is definitely the thing. And before I'm going to bring on Adrian as well, I do want to ask Nicole, because you've been building your community. So I do want you to speak a bit about that, and how did you build your community in NFT world and throughout the few months, and how you see the growth of that?
I would say my journey was pretty similar to Bianca's as well. When I first started, I was on Twitter Spaces, just sharing my story and then sharing my whys, like why am I doing this, and basically telling people and educating them about the gender gap that was really distant in the space. And I do tell them that this is a problem that we will need to solve. And then there was a lot of supporters. Most of them are guys, but then they acknowledged this problem and they showed me the support that I needed, because back then we don't have a lot of women in the NFT space. And even in terms of spending power, the guys are typically would spend more on NFTs. We do have girls as well. Like for instance, a guy would typically buy like 3 NFTs and the girl will probably just be spending on 1. So the support that I got was really genuine, and a few of them are even in this space. One of them is like Sanjay here, and I remember back then we were celebrating New Year together on Twitter Spaces, because I was just going out to Twitter Spaces and we only had like 5 people or 3 people in the space, and we just connected. We were just telling our stories and stuff like that, and these are the kind of genuine kind of friendships that I've built, which kind of contributed to the success of Asian. So people do see how I'm like a real person. I struggle with day-to-day life activity, like problems as well, and I'm docked, right? So people do connect me in that level. So I guess that is how I built my community to where it is today.
Awesome. So I do want to introduce Adrian. He's the creative director at CBR Media, which is a management company for Bianca's racing career and the NFT Dark Horse Bia. Welcome, Adrian. So can you speak a little bit more about how you guys put the concept together? And as I understand, it was in a pretty short period of time. And what are some of the kind of marketing strategies you guys are putting in place?
Thanks, Joyce and Nicole. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I work at CBR Media. We are a marketing and management agency, focused on motorsports. And so through my colleague, my boss, Darryl Young, who has been in the motorsport industry and has been racing for such a long time. Obviously, he has tremendous networks with regards to both established drivers and also emerging talents too. And a chance meeting, I guess, between Darryl and Bianca, and started working together with Darryl as her manager. And then obviously I come in on CBR Media side to help out with creative marketing. Initially, when we started thinking about NFT as a space, I mean, it was really just a natural extension of our overall marketing efforts in terms of our leveraging Bianca's existing success in traditional marketing, PR, and social media as well, because obviously prior to the launch of this NFT project, already made some headlines, securing that seat with W Series, scoring a seat also in USF Juniors, being the only Asian representative for FIA shootout contest. So, she's already been sort of having some kind of social profile. And so when we thought about, engaging on things like NFTs, I looked at it more from a marketing standpoint, because I really feel that a lot of talk has been about NFT as this mystical sort of technology that very little people understand, and it's lumped into cryptocurrency and blockchain and Web3 and VR goggles and metaverse and all that stuff, right? I guess it can get really overwhelming, but sifting through a lot of the information, what it is essentially, I think Darryl and myself, we just realized that this is actually a really cool new way of marketing a person or a company or a brand. We looked at it in that way, and so our objective really for the Dark Horse NFT project really is, obviously we want to support Bianca with her financial, requirements to continue to racing. As we know, motorsport is a really expensive thing to take part of. And so obviously I think first and foremost, to help her secure some sort of finances so that she can continue racing, have the right kind of training, eat right, all those sorts of things. What we're really excited about is about, engaging a community, a new generation of audiences who are into NFTs. And we just thought that it was a great thing for a young driver, a young person, a teenager like Bianca to be associated with this new generation of people. And so the more we thought, the more we just felt like it was a really good opportunity for us. A very important part is listening to our members, the Bia crew community, understanding what they want out of Bianca in terms of content. It's, I guess, in a way, it's a really exciting space for Bianca as an athlete to really sort of find new ways to reach new audiences, reach new fans, but at the same time, have a little bit of additional income to help her get by day to day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for going through that. There's two ways, right? So you're building a community, but it's also listening to the feedback from the audience. So that's quite different from the previous channels or Web2, even though you do see comments and whatnot on Instagram, but this seems even more close-knit, right?
Yeah.
So Bianca, do you post a lot of it based on, let's say, requests from your fans?
Yes, for sure. Like, the Discord server is insane. It's a lot of fun. Like, I'm enjoying myself. Like, whenever I'd be just tired from working out, I just go there and just post random content from a race weekend or just whatever they ask. Like, it's crazy, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think this kind of exclusivity, it's not very known to a lot of athletes yet. Like, this like one-on-one connection with athletes and supporters and fans. So I think it is very new, and it's something that's not done in the space yet. As an athlete, there's not a lot of athletes doing something like this and being the frontliner in something this groundbreaking. I think it shows really a strong character. Like, I know it may be a bit tough at first being in front of something new, but I myself, I really support it and I believe in it and I believe in communities. So,
and just on that point about us in some ways kind of breaking new ground and finding new use cases for NFT technology. I mean, projects like this are quite rare and if not quite unique in sports. Looking at NFT as this core sort of community building effort, I think it's very interesting because as we probably all know, NFT so far has been very closely associated with artwork and also collectibles. Now, agencies like us and people like organizations are starting to look at other types of utilities that NFTs can provide. Right? From our side, we always thought that NFT represents so much more, and that's why we wanted to just sort of try it out. It was great that we were able to have a driver like Bianca, who is really in tune with social media and very, very enthusiastic about communicating with her own fans. So we're really excited about it, and that's why we wanted to be the groundbreakers that we are and just try something new.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on too, that it has to grow out of the PFP space, right? And just having more utility to it. And Nicole, can you speak also a little bit about your experience then?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's a really smart move to join into the NFT space and then kind of look at it in terms of a marketing perspective, because the space is so new. Even just like a simple business or even selling coffee in the NFT space, you will get so much traction and eyes. That is because the space is so new that people do look into the space, and this is like the next big thing, right? So anything that is related to NFTs, people do tend to talk about it. Even right now, there are so many news journalists, podcasts trying to get NFT founders, just like a session or like an interview, just so that they can know a bit more about the space. So having Bianca into the NFT space is something so rare. I don't think I've seen any other racer that is into the space. So this is clearly a really smart move. So yeah, really looking forward to see, the collection, and I would love to be a part of it. Would love to support as well. Yeah, so we did a partnership. This was for Fashion Week on March. So we attended to the largest fashion week in the metaverse on Decentraland, and we had a physical idol. The whole idea is that you jump into the metaverse, you go to the Asian booth, and you'll be able to buy products there. And it's really interesting because you buy a digital product where your avatar in the Decentraland can wear it. A physical piece will actually be sent to your house. So you'll be getting two things. One, NFT, digital wearables, and you get the actual thing as well. So this has never been done before in the space, but I do foresee that in the future, like online stores and just how we shop, everything will be done into the metaverse, which is the next big thing. Being able to be the first to kind of test out that kind of concept was really interesting and really eye-opening experience for me. But of course, there's a lot of downsides to it as well. One of it is that because the server is so new and then there is just a lot of things going on in the server, if you have an old laptop, you won't be able to access the metaverse, or else you will just be like lagging and stuff like that. I would predict that in the future, with faster computer and all these like supercomputers that we will be making in the future, we will be able to kind of access to that kind of power. So that is something really interesting.
Thanks for that. And speaking of supporting, maybe either Bianca or Adrian can talk about, you guys just launched last week with the whitelist and OG whitelist, and you guys in public sale right now. So we can talk about how people can find it, of course, through Twitter links, but maybe talk a little bit more about the process then.
We've minted on June 1st. Of course, if people are still interested in buying NFTs, we are doing this all on website, the darkhorse.xyz. We think it's quite a simple process. I think it's around 3 to 4 clicks, including connecting the wallet. Yeah, so I hope people will support, and we're just really excited about it. We've come up with essentially 4 different variations for NFT artwork. The value and the worth is exactly the same, but it's all about creating this fun experience, right? Like, so our thing is, first and foremost, it's really a journey supporting Bianca's complete racing journey, career as a whole. So all this stuff is going to come on our socials and all that. Go check us out, and hope you support Bianca.
Awesome, so excited. Going back to Bianca though, with NFT, were you interested in the NFT space or looking at the space already before the team put together your NFT project?
Actually, this was brought up to me, I think, end of last year when it was like super new and like no one's really been into it. I haven't like seen any athlete get into it. That's why when they approached me, I was like, "Are you sure you want me to start this whole project? Like, am I a perfect fit?" But like once I've read into it, I've actually realized that it was an amazing time to get into the space, and I think my story really fits in well with the concept of everything. And like with NFTs, I'm an artist, and I really love art. The artworks actually that we're gonna release have influenced the concept a lot, the color palettes and everything, and the theme, and I just love art in general. So I've had my personal input on it, and I wanted it to be that way. And the artwork itself is a 3D rendering of specially designed helmets. It represents different aspects of me and motorsport in general. So it's a mix of something deep and something personal, but also represents my racing. So I guess it also allows me to sort of show a different side of me in racing through the artworks, as it is my helmet. And I think my helmet really signifies what I am as a racing driver. So I had to go through a lot of things, a lot of meetings just to get it working, and now we're releasing it and everything. So it's been a really great journey. We've been through some tough times, but we're getting our work and getting our artworks out, and I can't wait.
Wow, amazing. It's great to hear that you've been influencing a lot of the creative. And kind of going back to, you talked about being, female in this field, and also Nicole mentioned being an NFT. So with the two space that, that is so few representation, how do you that?
Of course, at first it is a bit tough because as women, we get more criticized than others would naturally be because of just how people take us for our credibility. And I guess at first it is tough, like especially for racing. It was a bit hard my first few years just because I was starting. No one really believed in my talent or in what I could do just because I was a woman. And I guess that just comes natural in this world we live in, where women are sort of demoralized for whenever they try to be a dark horse or just paving way or being, something groundbreaking. I'm really glad that I get to have this opportunity now, and that people actually listen and then understand. I get to inspire, and I also get inspiration from a lot of women, a lot of strong women that I've met. I really do believe in this. I believe in the concept. I believe in it, and I do really think that this is the future, this community.
I do have one question, because you mentioned that you are an artist yourself. So did you create all of the artworks for your collection, or you have someone else to help you with?
I had a lot of help. I've been giving all my inputs and everything, but Lance Drew's the head of this department, and he's an amazing creator. And we were just like linking minds of what would look great, and then he was taking all of my inputs like really into consideration. Like he would actually really do them, not just keep them aside, which I love a lot because it is something really valuable to me, especially my helmet, because actually the NFT art that's my helmet, it's actually going to be my helmet in real life as well. So we were designing not just NFTs but in real life. So actually, if you buy 4 or so NFTs, you get a chance to win my helmet at the end of the season. So it's one of the cool things that we included. So I was like, you really have to put my inputs in there because I'm going to be using that. And yeah, I really do hope that I could share more about it, once it's released and everything. And it's really amazing. I love it so much. I think it's one of my favorite helmets yet. I love all the colors we use. The sunset. I'm a big fan of sunsets. It really calms me down. I do hope that people will love it once it's released and everything.
I'm a huge fan of the sunset as well. Sometimes whenever I'm stressed, I'll just go out, take a walk, and I'll just look at the sun. And I'll be like, today is a good day. It's really cool what you're doing. I can't wait to get a feel of your NFT and to support as well. So as a holder, will we be able to access future events or you be able to go backstage with you and stuff like that?
It's really great that people can be more involved in what I do, because I really do think that the journey I'm in right now, it's really crazy. You know, for a 17-year-old, I get super overwhelmed with the amount of things that I have to do, not just in racing, in school aspect, in life, having people that follow along that journey and go through it with me and experiencing everything alongside me. I think it's really fun. Like, I've connected with a lot of people on the Discord server, you know, that we all struggle with the same things, academic, life problems, mental health. I think it's really good because it shows that aside as an athlete, I'm also a person, and I get to show that to them.
And speaking of that, I actually want to ask, what are some of your, like, you know, you have so many things going on. What is your usual kind of training routine to help people physically and mentally get ready?
Like, racing is like a whole new level. It's never just about physically driving the car. There's mental battles that I have to go through, and just in race prep or just prior to racing, and there's a lot of battles that I've had to deal with silently behind the scenes. Some of those things I've been able to open up to the community, like saying that the pressure I have to deal with, you know, I've been dealing with the pressure of the competition since I was 6 years old. You know, as a female driver, people always have high expectations of you, you know, and everyone's just watching, waiting for you to fail. And that's something that I've really dealt with. And a lot of people have been just criticizing me, not just as a racing driver, to be honest, but as a woman. That really affects in my head a lot. Like, now I'm more sensitive to all the criticism, and that affected my performance. But then that's what I realized, that I shouldn't let it get to me. I'm doing this because I love it, not to prove other people wrong. And it does feel great whenever I overachieve and go beyond people's expectations. But you know, I'm doing it for myself, and now the community that I have, they get to be there on the sideline and behind the scenes of me growing and developing every single day, and eventually, you know, in the near future, making it to Formula One.
And you will. We'll watch you go to Formula One.
Even for myself, when I was in the space back then, when I was in like Discord there with my name Nicole, I had my Chinese name Nicole. Yeah, people in the Discord group, whenever I said hi everybody, you know, it's great to be here, and they'll ask me, are you a female? And I'll be like, yes, I'm a female. And they will just tag the mods and be like, oh, please kick Nicole out. And then everyone will start doing that, because they said that this is a guys group chat, it's not for girls. And that was the scene back then when I was in the NFT space. And then when I started the Asian collection, it was all women. I do get really nasty feedbacks and comments saying that we won't be doing well, nobody likes a women project, it's all about animals. So I do relate to you, because they start to judge you for who you are, how you look. It's really hurtful. But to me, I do take a step back and then just reevaluate and think that no matter what you do in life, there'll always be people that will criticize you. What I do is focus on myself and my goals, because you are the only person that can contribute to your success. Even regardless of what people think about you, you shouldn't care. And I think that is really strong that you were able to overcome it, because I'm pretty sure there are times whenever somebody criticizes you, you would just want to give up. Typically, a lot of people, they wouldn't be able to stand the fact of being publicly ashamed. Kudos to you, you know, to be able to get through that, because I know it's not easy.
I'll move on to my next question, which is just really, what's your next goal and future ambition?
Of course, my ultimate goal would be in Formula One, and that's why we're doing everything we can. You know, like me and I, we've had the talk and said that if you wanted to settle with just W Series and this just as your personal goal, then we can just stop it here. You know, we can just stop all the hard work we've been doing and stop pushing and just race for 2 years. If you make a career out of it, then sure, that'd be great. But we are pushing this much because we want to grow outside of it, and we're doing all the work now. So eventually, it can lead us to a path of F1. That is why we're doing everything we possibly can to raise the fund, to get testing, and doing all the work. And I really do believe that I'm working 10 times harder than everyone else. The amount of the things I do is crazy. Aside from just keeping myself fit with training, I have to do so many things, AMAs and stuff like that I enjoy personally. Like, I think it really helps as a racing driver, and it really helps me in my goal, because I've become more disciplined for sure, and I've become more knowledgeable. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I did have problems with talking and stuff like this because of the 2 years in the pandemic. I didn't really have a lot of social skills because I was stuck at my house for 2 years and just doing nothing on my computer, no racing even. So that was really tough. I'm learning a lot from this. I've been able to speak and share my story with a lot of people, and the fact that they listen to it and love it is amazing. That every day I'm learning, and with being in this space, it's helped me a lot in racing. I've understood a lot and grown, and this this year is a learning curve for us, racing wise. So next year I've secured 2 years. So next year would be the year for us to push and maybe go for a championship fight even. So now we're doing everything we can to raise the funding and to get that testing.
We believe in you, and good luck with everything. Sounds amazing, and you can go places. I don't have a doubt about that.
Because knowing that she's only 17, and now I know
I know.
how do people feel each time they tell me, oh my God, you're so young. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so young. And I do see you will have a really bright future. And, I love how you carry yourself, the way you speak, and you're just so passionate. I can tell that you're just so passionate with the things that you're doing, and that is something that I'm so proud of. This was such a really interesting talk, and looking forward to meet, and perhaps we can do something together as well. And our NFTs can support each other, getting more people in the space, and I'm really excited to see where you would go in terms of your career and your NFT project.
Amazing. Both of you inspire me. Bianca, any last words?
Well, I just want to thank everyone, for you guys supporting me, to have more strong women supporting me definitely inspires me to push harder. Listening to you guys and your stories, I'm definitely amazed and wowed, how moving women can be. But yeah, I want to thank everyone as well to support, and to everyone listening, and to everyone that listened to my story. I do hope that you walk away from this space with more knowledge and more inspiration. Thank you guys.
So awesome. Thank you, and good luck with all your races.